Good day everyone, I am Maria Jessel C. Dududuga from BSc 1-2 and I am now going to report about the two topic which is social reality of crime and left realism. Are you ready? Yes, you must be ready to learn new topic on this day because for today's video I am going to tackle about the definition of terms, the meaning of social reality of crime, the book description, and the founder or the author behind this theory. Before we proceed to the definition of what is social reality of crime, let us define first the words consist of this theory. So first is, what is social? Let us define first social.
Social, relating to or characteristic of the experience, behavior, and interaction of persons forming groups.
This is the time when we actually interact with one another in the society, which is one of the reasons why a person committed a crime. Because when interacting with other people in the society, we actually earned a lot of information. We can influence by them on why did a person needs to commit a crime. Next is reality.
Reality, the world or the state of things as they actually exist, as opposed to an idealistic or notional idea of them.
It is a real-life situation that is really exists in this world, that is really happening in their lives. And lastly, the crime.
An action or omission that constitutes an offense that may be persecuted by the state and is punishable by law.
We encountered some different meanings of crime, but it's just all actually the same. In criminology, it is an act or omission that is punishable by the law. The next slide, we have a two picture here. The first one is the old version of the social reality of crime, which is the black and white book, and then the second is the new version with an introduction of the social reality of crime by A. Javier Trevino. And now let's proceed to the book description of social reality of crime.
Richard Guiney's The Social Reality of Crime remains an eloquent and important statement on crime, law, and justice. At the time of its appearance in 1970, Guiney's theory not only liberated the field from a recitation of the practices of the police, courts, and corrections.
It also represents a marked departure from traditional analysis which viewed by the criminal behavior as the pathological. He inspires scores of students of crime and criminal justice to reorient their perception of the criminal justice system. Next slide is
The social reality of crime swept the criminological community and motivated an entire generation of researchers to question definitions of crime and labels of criminality. The book's popularity quickly turned Guiney into a criminologist with an international reputation.
in the entire generation. These books motivates some researchers to do the study in relation to the definition of crimes and criminal liability. Because of this book popularities, many universities use this book for their references. After we discuss to the meaning or to the definition of what is social reality of crime, let us now proceed to the author or to the founder behind this book, or the person who did this book, which is the social reality of crime.
Richard Guiney, born on May 16, 1934, Elkhorn, Wisconsin, U.S., American philosopher and criminologist known for his critical philosophical approach to criminal justice research.
So, Richard Guiney is also one of the most cited authors in the social sciences and the key figure in the development of critical criminologies in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Hindi lang ang social reality of crime ang naisulat niyang libro. Marami pa siyang naisulat or naiambag na libro, which is yun yung nagiging dahilan niya at nabigyan din siya ng award. In relation to this topic, Conflict theory.
Conflict theory of crime from the construction of deviance. This paper describes the theory of the social reality of crime, which involves factors that compose crime's social reality, including the application of criminal law, the behavior pattern of those who are defined as criminal, and the construction of an ideology of crime.
So, conflict theory is also describe the social reality of crime, which is actually involves the social reality of a criminal. The behavior pattern can help the PNP personnel to determine of who is a criminal and why did the person committed a crime.
Crime is held to be a legal definition of human conduct created by agents of the dominant class in a politically organized society. Thus, definitions of crimes are composed of the behaviors that conflict with the interests of the dominant class, which has the power to translate its interests into public policy.
As what I've said earlier, crime has many definitions, which is actually includes the behavior of the conflict to the interest of a dominant class that belongs to the political organized society. Like for example, you and your mayor had a conflict regarding doon sa pwesto na inuupahan nyo, which is hindi naman hawak ng mayor at kumbaga naiinis lang siya kasi nga dumadaan siya, hindi makadaan yung kotse ng maayos. At hindi nagkaintindihan, naputok at nabaril yung isang miyembro ng pamilya nyo. And then after what happened, mabot na sa korte yung kasong yun. Dahil nga mas makapangyarihan yung mayor nyo, ayun, kumuha siya, may kakayahan siyang kumuha ng fake witnesses na against sa inyo. Before we proceed to the next for the next topic, which is realism, do you have any questions, clarification regarding the topic that I've reported? If you have any questions or clarification, you can actually repeat this video for the deeper understanding about the topic that I've discussed. Let us now proceed to the second topic, which is the left realism. And for this topic, we're going to tackle about the history of left realism, reason for crime, solutions for crime, and the 3 ways of controlling crime. First is the history of left realism.
Since the early 1980s, a number of sociologists have developed a perspective on crime and deviance usually referred to as left realism. Among the most prominent supporters of this perspective are Jack Young, John Leah, Roger Matthews, and Richard Kinsey.
Most sociologists stated that crime is legally defined as behavior, which is promulgated by the law, and then deviance is socially defined behavior. Like for example, you're going to funeral, and instead of wearing black as pagdadalamahati, you wear red, which is not appropriate for the funeral.
Lee and Jiang on 1984 point out that while the average chances of being a victim are small, particular groups face high risk. It is not the rich who are the usual targets of muggers or thieves, but the poor, the deprived, ethnic minorities, or inner residents.
This actually point out that most of the victim of a crime is a poor, and also a poor person don't have enough strength, lack of information on how to defend themselves in a criminal.
Left realism is just one political ideology that focuses on the causes of crime and deviance. Left realists believe that living in a capitalistic society, as in a society where private entities control trade and industry instead of the state, is the main cause for crime.
As what I've said earlier, the crime is legally defined as legally defined behavior, while deviance is socially defined behavior, and that can violate special norms. left realist is a person who study the left realism theory. The main causes of a crime came from the society, which they can actually control the rights of every individual. Some individuals doesn't know that they have rights. Next slide is about the reason for crime. Let us first define what is relative deprivation.
Reason for crime, relative deprivation. The rise of social media has made this factor the front runner for developing a criminal perspective.
The concept of relative deprivation also explain the apparent paradox of increasing crime in the context of all increasing wealthy society. Dahil sa impluwensya ng social media, kahit walang-wala ang tao, matitrigger silang bumili dahil nga uso yung bagay na yun, maganda siya, trending yung bagay na yun. Kahit wala silang pera, matitrigger sila na mangutang kahit saan. Kaya minsan, ito yung nagiging dahilan ng crime. Second is marginalization.
Marginalization. Essentially, this is what happens when groups and demographics of people are left without feeling like they have a voice.
Because a person lack of public participation, don't have freedom of speech. That's why it is exactly the reason why the person committed a crime. Like for example is sa construction worker, yung mga tao ng construction worker, they demand to increase their salary, which is tama naman din kasi hindi siya ganun kadali yung pagkatrabaho sa construction worker. May posibilidad na mahulog ka sa building na pinagtatrabahuan mo, and then yung engineer or yung tao na nag-a-assist sa inyo at hindi ka binibigyan ng the medical assistant, which is can be a reason why the victims or the family of the worker, which is a victim, feels frustration that can lead them to the violence that can lead them to commit a crime. Next is subculture.
This is an acceptance of resorting to illegal means to attain desires.
Some individuals in the society already accept the crime and criminal liability and deviance as a way of life. Next is left realism, solutions to crime. Left realist has already implemented the strategies on how to prevent a crime, on how to prevent a person committing crime. The last one is the 3 ways on controlling crime.
Identifying groups at risk of offending and trying to limit that risk.
It says that a person who committed a crime must be in intervention program, which is to provide our safety, also to prevent criminals for committing crime in the society. Community approaches
involving the local community in controlling crime.
So the community has an obligation to do something to prevent crime, to implement safety, peace and order, such as raising the living standards of a poor. And then the last one is improving policy.
The police should listen to the local communities.
They must concentrate on improving relationship to the communities or the public, so they can earn a lot of information towards or that can help their investigation. That is the last slide of my report. I have here a trivia.
Do you know that left realist solutions are the most costly of all crime prevention measures? Because it focuses the improvement of the community, such as giving jobs for individuals and to the increasing for a wealthy society. My quotation for today is, "Society invites the crime and criminals accept the invitation," by Vikrant. These are my references.
And that's all for today. I hope you learned something from my 2 topics, social reality of crime and left realism. And thank you guys for listening to me today. Goodbye!